Hello everyone and welcome back to 6s2Hit with me, Scottish, Ryan, Wayne, Tyler and Marc.
Hello.
And as you saw in the last video, we had a very nice game of Dungeon Saga. How did everyone find it?
Easy.
It was fun. I was disappointed that the elf didn't die.
So was I. Did try.
It's the armour. The armour's awesome.
I was pretty happy. Every time I touched something, it just exploded.
You know what? The way you knew exactly where you needed to go, though, Scottish, and the way you said that, it's almost like you'd read that before.
Yeah, it's almost like I've played this scenario before. Yeah. So, Marc,
Yep.
What is Dungeon Saga for people that didn't watch our last game?
Dungeon Saga is Mantic Games' new Dungeon Bash game. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is it. Here, there's one we prepared earlier. This is the game. This game will be released late September. Should be on the market shelves and retailers like 6s2Hit and many others. The game itself is absolutely gorgeous. You can see all these components here are part of the game. Big box, still full of goodies as well. It's a proper old-fashioned Dungeon Bash. Even the lineup, you've got an elf, a dwarf, a barbarian and a wizard. You know, it's a proper classical cliched lineup, but we absolutely love it. The game itself is full of little cliches like that, and if you're a Dungeons & Dragons fan or just a board game fan, you're going to love it.
Yeah. Well, first things first, let's talk about the packaging.
Yes.
It's an amazing packaging.
This is it.
Literally a
on. Looks like a big old-fashioned book, and that's because it is a big old-fashioned book. So move that to one side. The actual game itself comes inside this box. The slipcase is designed to give it a bit of extra strength and stability. However, there's the game.
So it all fits within the book, so you can just sit it on your bookshelf and no one would know you had a game sitting up there.
Everything fits inside.
Amazing.
All of this lot here, all of that, and all of this lot, which is for future quests, is all in the one box or book.
How many scenarios come in the first set?
There are 10 quests. The first two are tutorials designed to take you, lead you by the hand. This is how you fight, this is how you move, cast spells, etc. So we disregard those because they're just there to teach. The main 8 quests are very, very difficult, and they build up in power and build up in power. You can pass me a card over, please, one of the characters.
Olaf.
How it works is, this is your character sheet, yeah, and you've got, for example, a number of wounds. When you reach red, you're wounded, which debuffs you slightly. They've all got feats and special powers, and they've got a stat card. Now, you can buff this with extra equipment, weapon, and abilities that you earn throughout the game. Halfway through the quests, you level up, you ding. You flip over the card, and you move from being low-level Olaf to being legendary Olaf. And every one of the characters is the same. They'll reach a point where you've XP'd, you've beaten quite a few bad guys, and you're bigger, harder, and tougher than before. The good news is, not only do the players level up and ding, but so does Mortibrus. This is one of my favourite new miniatures. You can see that there. Absolutely gorgeous. This is the legendary Mortibrus, which will be retailer exclusive. So he gets harder as well. So he gets more ability to kill the tougher player characters. So all of that comes in this box. We'll get back to in a moment, a number of expansions planned over the next 12 months, and every one of them will come in a similar size box to this. So it might be slightly thinner, but it'll be the same height, the same footprint.
Same sort of design, so it'll look like a book again.
And eventually you'll have a library will build up
of
extra quests and expansions on your shelf. So it's gorgeous. It's even magnetised. We've got into so much detail in this you would not believe. They must have sent dozens through and we rejected them and said fix this, tighten that, make that better. And if you can feel that little click there, the box is magnetised.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so we've put a lot of detail in here. We've got strengtheners in there. The idea is that this is something beautiful you're going to want to have on your shelf. And the game inside is just absolutely fantastic.
As our viewers can quickly see, we have a lot more miniatures on the board here. You want to take us through what some of these are? Because some of them look amazing.
We will do. These ones you can see here are all part of the same in the basic game. And this isn't even half the miniatures you get in the basic game.
Okay.
There's a lot more, and some of them are really big guys. Look, if you can make that out. 3 trolls on a 40mm base you get. Absolutely massive undead trolls, including the shaman. There's a few of the studio ones which I've pinched and brought down here. This is the undead, which are gorgeous, and that's the ones you get in the core game, but a lot more than you see here. We've got here a whole bunch more player characters for several reasons. Firstly, because as each of the expansions come out, they will unlock and introduce more races. You can have a halfling thief. There's your stereotypical halfling thief there. You've got a paladin, you've got a dwarven engineer, so you've got all the proper Dungeons and Dragons stereotypes, which are fantastic.
A halfling paladin.
That's a halfling paladin, yes it is. If you want a little hard as nails halfling who's going out there with his huge, for a halfling, 2-handed sword, there he is there. But we've also started to introduce more Mantic specific races as well. So it's not just the classics. We have, for example, Naiad Hunter, with a crossbow, pistol and a trident. She's absolutely gorgeous. We've got some elementals from the armies of nature. We've got the salamander here.
The salamander looks awesome. I like the sword. Is the sword on fire or is that just...
No, it's on fire. Salamanders deal with fire magic. So even relatively minor ones, he's not a spellcaster, but he'll still know fire magic.
I have a question.
Still know a little bit.
Is any Terraton from the Dreadball universe going to be like...
No, because that's Dreadball, the Warpath universe, which is different. So there are even more player characters in this because none of these are the legendary miniatures. And for the models and collectors, every single character you see here and all those blue characters have a legendary version coming out. So they have a metal version which is then uber buffed. They've got better equipment, better armour, they just look bigger, tougher and harder for every single player character out there.
Sounds amazing.
Which is beautiful. So we've got here several of the forthcoming releases. These are planned for over the next 12 months. So I've just pinched a few from the studio.
Cool.
This isn't them all by any means. However, for the Greenskin expansion, you notice you've got here a bunch of orcs, goblins, orclings. The orclings are my favourite, I don't know if you can make that out, but you've got a little base there with 5 of the little guys on there, all cavorting, causing trouble.
I like the one that's holding the big massive sword that's too heavy for him falling over backwards.
Well,
it's just
there's actually
so,
technically
such a dynamic.
6, because there's one of them on the other one's shoulders. He's getting a little piggyback right there, you can see that? And there's the warlord himself, Warlord of Galahir, which is what the expansion will be called. He's absolutely beautiful. Orc with 2-hand weapons. The sculpting is gorgeous. We've
So
really
just-
raised the bar.
Are the orcs just going to be an antagonist race or are there plans to have an orc playable character?
Not at the moment, though. We have discussed a possibility at some point of having an expansion where you play the bad guys. I think everybody in the office loves that idea.
So I'm just looking over here and I'm seeing there's another faction over here and
There's
there's
the
some
Abyssals.
really nice looking bad guys in this one.
That's our demons. Abyssals are going to be introduced for Kings of War very shortly, and in the forthcoming months for Dungeon Saga. And again, that's just a few of grab, but you can see straight away. You've got the Moloch, which is the huge guy up there.
It's this guy here.
Succubus. You've got the Cerberus. The
Yes.
miniatures are beautiful.
Amazing looking miniature. I'm assuming you would be able to place the big guys if you were to do that expansion.
No, because
Yeah.
he's like an ogre size and he's an absolute beast. However, I think the expansion that everybody's going to be waiting for is the Tyrant, and the Tyrant is this little fellow here. Tyrant is gorgeous. It's our dragon miniature, and this is the first big scale miniature we've really ever manufactured. As you can see, we are starting to build bigger and bigger toys. Yeah, that's the Golem for the Abyssals, the greater Golem. But the dragon is absolutely stunning. He will be hard plastic. The wings will be separate because we can't find a package big enough, so you just simply clip the wings in place. But if you have a look at that, he's stunning. I don't know if we can get a close up at some
It
point.
is a stunning looking miniature.
We'll get some really nice pictures up for these.
It's all the detail on the base, the gold hoard that he's sitting on. You probably won't be able to see in the image at the moment, but he is sitting on just hordes of gold coins. It is amazing looking.
Proper Western dragon. He's big, he's meaty, he's buff, and he looks like he's just going to grab a player character and just tear his head off and eat him for lunch. And that's what we wanted. Was just he looks menacing. Nails.
Thank you for that, Mark. That's good.
So the actual gameplay, is there any plans on extending how you play the game? Is there going to be
There
changes to it, or is it just going to
No.
be a case of these are the dungeons you go
No,
for?
this is going to be a completely open type of game. So you've got this. You've got the first quest, the Dungeon Saga.
Yeah.
Okay, and you in this you go through and you play against Mortibrus, and hopefully the players will defeat Mortibrus and go on to become legendary. So that's the first quest pack finished. You've got another 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one is Return to Valandor, which is out just before Christmas. There's a fourth expansion I've not brought. So that's 4 expansions, and in those you'll have other players and they'll all complete the quest, which is brilliant. So you're going to easily have a year of really cool gameplay and you'll enjoy it. However, from day one, Ronnie was really clear what he wanted was something more than that. What he wanted was an experience that you can make up on yourself, you can tailor for your own players and friends. So we've got a player's guide due out with initial release, and it's kind of like a player's and dungeon master's guide rolled into one. What that will allow you to do is one of you pick the role of the dungeon master. We'll design a dungeon to put his mates through, and it could be 1 or 20 levels. You can play up to yourself. You can get extra tile packs. You can make this as big or small as you like, and you can even make your own player characters up. So that's why we have a little bit crazy, like the halfling paladin, a halfling in heavy armour wielding a huge sword. You know,
So will it be a case of there'll be models for these? It'll be a case of, like, for example, you can have an elemental paladin. Would that be something that you could do? Would you be releasing a model for that sort of
we
stuff?
will do many miniatures, but the likelihood is we'll not be able to cover all possible combinations.
You'll be trying to do as much as you
Yeah,
can.
we'll do as much as we can. We have got a lot in the pipeline, and we do some really nice miniatures for Kings of War. If you have a look at the Dwarven Range, is beautiful. The Dwarven Priest, the Basilian Priest, all those will become.
So this is set in the same
races.
universe as the Kings of War
Exactly the same. In fact, the outcome of the quests will be mirrored. So we've got some campaigns coming up for Kings of War, and those will be mirrored. And there's a storyline which goes alongside this, and it's the same story for the Kings of War Mantic universe. There's no difference.
So this is coming out round about the same time that your new Kings of War game's coming out, is that correct?
And this isn't a sandpit. What happens in the dungeon and the saga has a direct effect on Mantica itself. Because essentially if Mortibrus can complete his nefarious plan, he can start raising undead armies and he can threaten the stability of that entire region of the planet. So the elves, the dwarfs, the humans are all getting geared up for war. They're hoping the players will succeed and be heroic and strike Mortibrus down, but they're planning just in case they're not. In fact, if you read the backstory in Dungeon Saga, it's kind of a long shot for the players to succeed. And it's a bit of a delaying tactic as opposed to anything else to get the armies in place. So all of that will cross over into the new Kings of War, which you can see here. Okay, so that will all cross over into that as well. The whole storyline, which is absolutely fantastic. But you see, we've got massive scope here, and the player's book is what takes it, throws it wide open. If you want to be a complete swine, design a dungeon which will cause nightmares for your friends, you can. Put abyssals in it, put greenskins, put undead.
Well, having played through the quest a few times, I know there's one or two people that may want to be slightly evil when they're doing it. Both of them sitting to my left at the moment.
We've
I believe that I've played this game, and possibly this scenario a few times during one of our big events recently, and I believe I was the wizard and some dungeon master kept picking on me.
What?
No.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think you went to the door and you just simultaneously died.
I think it was I think it was narrowed to the back.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so both of us have done that, I think.
Yep.
No, we both killed you.
Oh no, wait, I did it to you. Because didn't I shoot you in the backside with an arrow?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Right.
Just as I was about to open a knife.
You got to the door, it's like, oh, I've gotten rid of one of the wards, wait, what's this sticking out of my back? Oh god.
There's a lot of nuances to it. Sometimes you might look at it and think, oh, that's actually quite easy, I know how to beat this. And then all of a sudden you'll find yourself bogged down and you've lost the quest.
We played a scenario the other day where had to go through a tunnel and the roof was collapsing.
Yep.
It was brilliant because we ended up bottlenecking up and the roof collapsed behind us, blocking us off from going backwards. We had nowhere to go.
So what I did as being the evil dungeon master was filled the room with zombies.
Yep.
And just didn't even attack you, just stood in the way.
Left my dwarf sitting there going, I can't take them all, someone help me. They were all stuck behind me as it was a 1 square corridor.
Yeah. So you've got to watch it for the bottlenecks and pinch points, you have to look ahead. There are some little touches in the game, for example, it's the dungeon fog.
Yeah.
When you lay a dungeon down, and some of them are as big as 3 or 4 feet in diameter, they are big, you only put down to the first door. So when you played the first quest, well met, you put this down, and the players could only see this part.
So that
They couldn't
represents
see
what
this.
they could physically see within the dungeon. Obviously.
Exactly. And when you open the next door, we put the next room down and we populate it with the undead, and so on and so forth. So in the first dungeon, this is relatively small, but in bigger dungeons there could be many doors and many rooms, and you're not going to know what's beyond them until you go and open the door.
As you do in real life.
Yeah, exactly. As you do in real life. So we have got a massive amount of plans for
I
this
could
game.
say it's the meta.
Yeah, I just think they were picking on me.
Maybe.
One thing I want to point out about Dungeon Saga is I've never played a dungeon crawl before. Never. And I have fallen in love with Dungeon Saga. It's if this is what all dungeon crawlers are like, I want to play all of them.
I remember dungeon crawlers when I was younger, and it was a case of one person could complete it on their own.
No, you can't.
You
in
can't
this.
do this in this one.
It's co-op, and if you don't work together, you're probably going to lose quite quickly.
Yeah.
And I will be honest with you, some of the later quests, Jake Thornton, who wrote it, has deliberately put in a few things which, if you're an experienced dungeon hand, you're going to think, I've got this sorted, I know how we can complete this one, lads, follow me, and you're probably going to end up spending several turns doing completely the wrong thing. So there's a few sucker punches in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the quest is just, some of them aren't easy, and it might take you a few runs, but we want you to get your money's worth. We want you to play it, constantly over and over and think, right, that was great. That fourth scenario was nightmare. We have to play it, and it might take you 2 or 3 sessions, but eventually you will crack it. Like when we played the third quest and you guys got bottlenecked, you might be able to beat it the second pass through. It might take you 3 attempts, but you
somehow
just keep coming.
my party just kind of went, yeah, let's follow them down that one path, which seems to be oh no, not a good idea.
Although the barbarian had a chance to run away, and he didn't.
Yeah, that was the case. The barbarian was sitting looking at 2 doors going, I could go down the bottleneck or I could go down this way. I'm going to go down the bottleneck, and the room behind them collapsed, which means we couldn't go back. So it was like, yeah, we kind of gone the wrong way at this one.
But to be honest, the roof collapsing was also your fault for rolling doubles.
Yeah, apparently I'm really good at rolling the exact same as you.
Yeah, the idea is to be able to collapse a room, we both roll a d6. And if they're the same, the room will collapse. If he's higher, then I move around the room in different areas with the token to symbolise the collapsing of the room. So pretty much every time we got the same dice.
When I wanted the roof to collapse, it moved. When I didn't want the roof to collapse, it collapsed. It was just like, yeah, screw you. We're going to collapse on you now. No, we're going to keep that way open for the zombies and skeletons to come after you.
It's the little touches in a lot of the quests and scenarios that make all the difference for it. Because then you have to really think about it. It's not simple, it's not easy, it is a bit of a challenge, and that's what we wanted. Not a game that you go, I've completed a light quest, it took us a few days, that was dead easy. We want something that you might think, right, this 10 guys, we're going to focus, we're going to beat this.
So, just a quick question about modifying the game as you're playing it. Is it possible to go, let's make this quest a bit harder and remove some of the overload cards and make it so you've got less of a time limit?
Yeah, completely. It's your quest. At the end of the day, if you look
so
at
for the more experienced players who've already run through it, you can give them a better challenge by removing cards.
A whole bunch of stuff at the back of the quest book with optional additional rules and little suggestions. You can make it easier, you can make it a bit tougher, and there's just a few hints and tips that let you do that very thing.
Okay.
So if you think, you know what, we beat this one before, let's turn up the heat a little bit. It's got a few hints and tips in here how to do that.
We should do that with that one.
Like I said, even taking a couple of cards out of the Necromancer's deck.
We just managed to beat this scenario. We had 2 cards left to go. Losing 2 cards would mean we would have failed.
Yep.
Yes.
My brilliant plan made us win though.
And we checked and we looked, and if I'd flipped one of those cards, 2 cards earlier, I'd have jammed up the mage, and that game could have went very differently.
But that would also mean you have to get by all those people to get to me, and I don't think that would have happened by then.
Yeah.
With your dice rolls.
Yeah.
Who would have thought a dwarf or an elf could make a immovable object, eh?
This is true.
To be quite honest, it was the barbarian that won the day.
Really? I'm going to put my feet. Mrs. Skeleton. I just wasted my feet.
It was awesome. Someone killed something. I made you fight all the harder.
And then the elf.
This is what it's all about. Every time we've had playtesters and people playing the game and trying it, they've got stories. They've created a little story there. And you guys remember your first run through that quest, the barbarian fluffed it completely and had to be saved by the dwarf. The elf almost went down, had to leg it really hard and go and grab the chest
I blew up
contents.
several skeletons while doing this.
The fireball was set on kill. You know, the fireball spell just disintegrated everything it hit. So that's what you remember. And when you play the second quest, there'll be another part of the story and that'll keep carrying you through.
It is a really, really good game. I've played Dungeon Crawlers before. I've played quite a few different games in my lifetime, but it seems to be one that, even though you've played this sort of style of game before, you can't take that experience forward.
No.
How do you manage to achieve something like that?
Because we've deliberately, in a couple of quests, I said I've got sucker punches in there. If you revert to dungeon bashing mode, there are certain things that you think, I know what we're doing here, and it's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
But on a couple of quests, it's the right thing to do.
It's just
So
Yeah, you're having to think of many moves ahead, work together as a team, plan it out, creating your narrative, and it is very, you're clawing for victory, even in the simple. Well, I say they're simple. Your first scenario.
It's not exactly simple.
No,
It's
no.
really not.
It's not.
The two squishiest characters stuck together in a small corridor with a bunch of pile of bones.
Squishiest, we killed the most out of everything.
Looking
Well,
at
yeah,
the cards, they may have killed the most. They are the squishiest characters in this game.
Yesterday in Claymore we must have ran, 8-10 demo games, and almost every one of them they lost because the mage went down.
Can I just clarify for those that don't understand? Claymore was on the 1st of August. This may not go out exactly on time, so
Yeah.
yesterday means the 1st of August.
It does, yeah. And we ran a number, and we were running, and Ryan playing the necromancer, and he even used to say to quite a few of them, guard the mage. Whatever you do, the mage is squishy, he dies easily, he's the key here. And the number of them ran off and left the mage.
We had a few power gamers that got a bit unhappy when I turned around to them and said, the mage is dead, you can no longer complete your quest, the evil necromancer's plans come into flow, you all die at the end. And they're like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Well, you're not allowed to know why.
You see this door, it's a warded door, and that guy can break wards. Your axe doesn't work on it.
So when you're
Why
playing
not?
these games, is it advisable to sort of have the sort of really balanced party of a couple of hard hitters and at least one mage just in case?
That's up to yourselves.
So
It's
I'm
your
talking
cunning-
for like the expansions and
Yeah,
stuff
it's
like that.
your
It's going to
cunning
be a
plan,
case
that's
of
down to you. If
So hopefully they get power mages.
If you want 4
Yeah.
dwarfs, if you think 4 dwarfs are running through is the secret to success, then you make up 4 dwarfs.
somehow I think that would have been awesome, but we may have been bashing on that last
Mage
one.
dwarf.
Yeah,
Can you get mage dwarfs?
you can get dwarf and runesmith, so you know.
Ooh.
Maybe we would do it.
The weird thing you said
Halfling
there,
Christmas.
the weird thing you said there is running through a dungeon with dwarfs. Is that possible with dwarfs? Because they don't exactly run very far.
Well, it's subjective.
no.
isn't it? It's
We
subjective.
would
With
give
dwarfs,
you
it's
extra
still
cards,
run.
Scott.
Yeah, they can still run, they just maybe don't run as fast as anyone else. One of the players we had the other day, that's what he intended to do with his son, did a massive dwarven army for Kings of War, absolutely huge, and his entire thing, he wanted to pick up Dungeon Saga, the player's book, so he could make up a dwarven rune, and he could have his player characters, all 4 of them dwarfs, fighting their way down through the dwarven runes.
So it's going to be
Nice.
possible to have sort of things like that. That's going to be pretty cool.
He does the work, he makes it up himself, he can populate it, he wants to put in lots of the dwarven undead, like this little chap here, and that's a themed dungeon, and he's looking forward to it because it's his dungeon.
Yeah. Well, I've got one really, really important question here. Obviously, it's such a large model.
Yep.
It represents a very large creature.
It does.
What came first, the dungeon or the dragon?
There's always a back door into the dungeon.
There's a back door
always
secret.
a back door somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an access hatch that only the dragon knows.
Cool.
So we've talked a little bit the figures. Are we going to see anything more from the board, terrain pieces?
Yes, we are. As you can see, you get quite a lot of dungeon furniture. That box has got huge bags. You've got the doors, you've got chests, you've got tables. The little lectern, which is my favourite, actually comes with a tiny little
So
book.
it comes with a book as well.
There's a book in the back.
This
in there,
thing is tiny and the detail on it.
and it has a book.
And it's
And it
got
has a little book which goes on it. Yeah. But you can see there, that
the
is
same
a
size as the halfling model.
Yeah. That's a whole bunch of dungeon furniture it has in that bag right there.
Oh my god, he's found a book.
Yeah,
They're right
and that doesn't even include all the doors, and the doors are absolutely gorgeous. Everything is
Yeah.
proper
got
hard plastic.
Library
Bookcases.
books,
Yeah.
bookcases, tables,
Lots of stuff.
even weird coffins.
So would that be this thing here that's been painted up?
Yeah.
You have your shield racks, and then you have your will.
Awesome.
Tiniest little book.
Yep.
A little tiny book. See if we can actually put it on the
Really
book.
nice.
Where's the book?
Really
You
nice.
use the
Right
laptop.
there.
Right.
Is that going to have effects in game? Is it the furniture going to affect the game, or is it just for show?
You have to fight round furniture, so
Right.
it kind of breaks things up and can
There
prevent
we go.
cover,
So there's
etc.
no pick up
Actually
a
sits
table
on
and
the top.
move it.
No, there's not. Not just with that amount of
Are you
detail.
planning on going into things like that, or are you just going to
That's more role-playing complexity.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that if you're giving people the chance to create their own quests, maybe they might go, you know what?
For example, search that you go into the room, look at the table, and there's an item on the table.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
You can create that yourself. It's just so open, it's fantastic. The playtesting for the dragon, I've never heard playtesters squeal so much. Honestly, that's so good.
Well, I'll be honest.
That's not fair.
My barbarian, being a barbarian, is going to take that on one day and he's going to beat it. Because I am confident that a barbarian can do that.
You
And
actually
I'll be the dragon.
No, he's not allowed to be the dragon.
you tell me about one of the times when playtesters took on the dragon. Who survived out of the four?
Only the halfling thief survived.
Oh, nice.
Imagine through the end scenario, they buffed up, we're all legendary, all fully tooled up, and only this little chap.
But here's the real question: was the barbarian in that game?
I can't remember the full lineup, but probably not because I think it was the salamander.
You need
I think it was the salamander the ones who died.
Oh, even better. Even bigger and better.
But they all died except the halfling thief who survived on 1 wound.
Nice.
Probably just ran out the door, which he couldn't fit through.
No, because it's got the back door.
The dragon couldn't fall through the door. So each of them will have its own challenges, its own style of play, etc. for each of the expansions, and more player characters and miniatures that you can field.
Nice.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I don't think we've got anything else to say about Dungeon Saga.
Not yet, but I believe
So
we are
when-
looking to
when's it
play a
coming
bigger
out?
game.
It's due for release late September, early October. However, what we're aiming to do is get demo copies into the hands of as many shops as possible
Yep.
late in August. Because I can tell you how cool it is. You can see on the video how great it looks.
But it's
But
always better to play a game.
yeah, but we Mantic, we believe that you should know months in advance what we've got coming and plan for it. Also, that if I can put that copy in your hands, you can go, you know what, I want this game. That speaks so much better.
So how much do you think it's going to cost roughly? Just as a sort of ballpark figure.
Retail is $49.99.
For it?
That's pretty cheap for what you get.
It is.
It's a
the box
lot of
is
stuff and it's a
crammed.
lot of gameplay. It is an
Yeah.
amazing game for
Well,
that price.
Especially when you're saying that this could last you a year. That's pretty good
We
for...
reckon that if most players meet up once a week for gaming night, board game night once a week, which most crowds do,
Yep.
it will probably take you about 12 weeks to get through the 8 quests. Because there's quite a few of the quests, particularly later on, that you're unlikely to make it first time. So it might take you 2 or 3 weeks. And the later quests are huge, you can cover this table in Dungeon. So it's a full night's play.
Mhm.
So, and what we're hoping for is teach you that 12 weeks, that 3 months, you get a lot of enjoyment out of it without even going to the player's book. And then we bring the next quest pack out, and you've got another few months of working your way through and figuring out how to beat the dragon, and then the demons show up in there, and then you fight the demons, and then the orcs show up, you know?
And I think at that point you retire from Dungeon It's like, you know what, I've had enough. What dragons?
Speak for yourself, my barbarian will go through this.
Your barbarian can't hit a skeleton when he's
We
still
are going to
Collector's
revisit the old
edition.
heroes. And we will be, some of the scenarios later on will have legendary Olaf will be in there, legendary Magriga, so you can actually dust off your old heroes and go, I've not used them since Dungeon Saga, and off they go into this new quest pack.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, we've asked when that's coming out. We've also sort of touched on Kings of War. When's
Yeah.
the Kings of War out?
Kings of War is due on the 22nd of August.
22nd of August.
Yeah.
So that's...
This is the trade paperback edition. See that there? It's a bit bigger than A4, it's more like comic book size.
Yeah.
$9.99. It's got absolutely everything you need in there to play. You've got all your rules, your army list for 12
It even looks
armies.
like an old book as well.
Yeah,
It does. It's a nice sort of
we've
looking
actually
book.
future-proofed it a little bit. The next couple of army releases are in there. The Abyssal army, which is due out within a few months. Armies of Nature's due out next year, but they're in there.
So that's actually kind of handy that you've got armies in the book that aren't out yet.
Yes.
So they could buy this to have a look at the army and go, you know what, I like that, I know exactly what I need to get.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
kind of cool.
That's a really good idea.
Yes, and the hardback is beautiful. It's deluxe, big, glossy hardback. Loads of stories, articles, histories of Mantica, battle reports. It's absolutely cram full.
And these
But,
games
yeah.
are going to link together, and you're going to have campaigns that link.
Exactly.
as
We've
we
already
call it.
got some campaigns planned for the next 12 months or so through the winter, etc. And something maybe I'll be linked to how the players do in the dungeon.
Cool.
So could you actually have a game of, say, Barbarians and Kings of War and Legendary Olaf's there right at the front lines?
You could use him as your general. Yep. Slap him down as your general. For example, I'm doing Undead Army, and I'm going to have a full unit of Undead Trolls.
Nice.
Because the stat line for those is now in the game. You know, you could use your wraiths. You know, the ghosts are absolutely beautiful from Dungeon
They
Saga.
are nice models.
So you could put a unit of these guys down and use them in your Kings of War army. We try and get as much multiple use out of them as possible. You could put an entire unit of Dwarven Undead if you wanted, just to make it a bit themed. It doesn't just look like normal skeletons. You've actually got a bunch of Dwarven skeletons. You use the Dwarven King as your
So you
leader.
can bait your regular opponent. So if sort of suddenly there's a unit of dead dwarfs that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
killed the last game.
So yeah, that's them. Look, I'm using them. I've recycled your army for you.
I just want to ask because you caught my eye at the corner of my eye. This little colourful fellow over in
Yes.
the corner.
this little cover, that is Ronnie.
That's
That
right.
is Ronnie.
He's got a little smaller since we last,
It's not 1-to-1 scale, but he wouldn't sit still for long
That's
enough.
amazing.
That is a little Ronnie the Bard, and he's even doing his whole like guitar bit. And he does dress like that in the office. Yeah. From time to time he comes in dressed exactly like Ronnie the Bard. I think it's kind of went to his head a little bit, but you know what he's like. So yeah, it's just, we did that for fun. And I would like to inject a little bit of humour. One which I think almost everybody's going to love is we have even got Blaine in Kings of War.
Now,
He's
I'm
back
pretty
again.
new to Mantic Games at the moment, so can you explain to me and those people that are new to Mantic Games what Blaine is?
Blaine
and
is
who he
our universal badass. He's in Dead Zone. He's in Warpath Universe. He's in Dreadball. He's in Dreadball Extreme as the same character. Sometimes he's a mercenary, sometimes he's a sponsor, sometimes he's a coach for a player, an MVP. He just does what he wants and he goes where he wants. He's in Mars Attacks as a mercenary, an alien merc. He's in Kings of War. I've got to mention there, I'm riding a dinosaur for Kings of War. He's absolutely awesome. And he is even in Dungeon Saga, because if he wants to go in there and take the treasure, then who's going to stop him?
I think it's just a case of he turns up and even the skeletons go, right,
Yeah,
we
fair
got
play,
it.
you have it. I think that is legendary Bane, because let's face it, Blaine is
Is he,
Yeah.
is he one of those guys that just starts legendary and can still level up?
yeah, it just goes upwards from there. Yeah,
He's just
He's the Ace Rimmer of Mantic.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Dimension jumping.
the eternal hero.
the Stig of the Mantic universe.
He's
Uh, some say he came before legendary.
Well, we've really enjoyed having these guys here. It's been brilliant fun, and we're looking forward to this coming out. So again,
Very much.
we look forward to Kings of War coming out later on this month,
Yeah.
and we eagerly anticipate Dungeon Saga when it is finally released.
You'll have your store devil copy in the next few weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
You'll be able to
as soon
run
as we
through all
get
the
it, you're all
quests.
welcome to come down and try it out.
I like how it's set in a few weeks.
Actually, this box is now empty. What you've not seen is
Struggling
Kenny's
to
been under the
believe this.
table
Yeah.
removing it.
Of course, that's the only one in the UK. Ronnie took all the rest of the samples to America.
Yeah, there may have been a bit of an accident that we won't talk about.
Yeah.
Well, at least the cards are baptised now.
Yes.
Oh yes,
The cards are that durable you can spill beer on them, and you can see they're still
we
usable.
haven't put that through personal experience
No,
or anything, have we?
I did
Wait.
not spill 2 bottles of beer over this set whatsoever. You can't tell.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got nothing else to add to Dungeon Saga other than it's completely awesome.
Agreed.
For
Fantastic, guys.
whatever the word is, it's just that awesome. I'm speechless. I can't wait.
Yeah, none of us can wait. So that's kind of all we've got here from 6s2Hit. So that's bye from you, Scottish,
Bye from me, Wade.
Bye from me, Tyler.
Bye from me, Mark.
bye from you, Ryan.
and we'll catch you in the next video, I guess.
Bye. Bye.